Hello there, everyone. Patricia Hayes here with today's Coffee Time Career Chat. So excited to be here and to share with you during National Career Development Week. That's right, this week is focused on National Career Development as a part of the entire month. So I'm so glad to be able to contribute during this specific time and season. And that said, we are going to jump right in after I make sure that those of you who are joining for the first time know that I am an executive advisor, career empowerment coach, and authentic networking strategist. And what I do is I focus on making sure that entrepreneurs, executives, professionals, especially women, are ready to go when they're ready to up level in their careers or ready to make a significant transition in their professional goals, and to do so in a way that is fully authentic and that they can leverage their professional relationships in a way that will help them to be sustainable over time as they grow. So, that said, we are talking today about leaning on leadership opportunities for growth. This is something that is super important, and first, we want to make sure that we remember how we define leadership, right? Leadership is not about a title. It is not about what, title you have in front of your name or the letters behind your name. Leadership is about influence, it's about trust, it's about inspiration and inspiring others to perform at their best. And so when we're looking at leadership in that context, that means that anyone can be a leader as long as they are willing to take on that responsibility of recognizing the level of influence that they have among their colleagues and they're in their work environment, and to recognize that they can help people get to the next level at whatever that they are doing, right? So some of the best leaders I've known have never had a title ahead of me, right? They were folks who were extremely supportive. They maybe didn't even work in the same environment as I did, but they were able to provide some sound advice and guidance along the way in their specific way. So that said, here's the first thing you want to make sure you do if you're going to lean into making sure that you are utilizing leadership opportunities in a way that will sustain you during your growth period. And that is, first, you have to say yes to the opportunity. And I know that that may sound a little bit contrary to when people are like, oh, well, you need to pull back and reconsider. I'm not saying say yes to everything, but you cannot get to the place where you want to be if you don't actually say yes to something. So, as you're moving forward, as you're taking that time to engage in reflection and to really decide, what are the things you do want to weigh in on versus those things that are not quite aligned, I want you to be deliberate and be clear. And as you're looking at whether there is an opportunity for you to engage and influence a process, a project, a group of people, is there a way, an opportunity for you to utilize your skills and knowledge in a way that will help? And do you have, or is it an opportunity for you to build trust among a group of people that will help you to move forward in a way that's beneficial, to your next steps and to the goals that you have? If the answer is yes to those things, then this may be a yes opportunity. But you have to take time to think it through. You have to take that time to reflect and not just jump into it. I know when we were younger, I was guilty of this. Is like you've got something to prove, and so you go and say yes to everything. That's not necessarily the best strategy, right? Because at some point, your capacity to do things is going to exceed your willingness to do it, and or just the space you have. And even then, it can lead to burnout. So as we get older, and quite frankly, there are some young people I'm very impressed with who are much more willing to say no sooner and to be much more deliberate, and because they're very much more aligned and clear about what it is that they want to do. And I take that as a sign of the times, right? And so as we all grow to that space, make sure that you are leaning in to future opportunities that will lead to significant growth for you by saying yes to the right opportunity because it's aligned with your goals and dreams and purpose that you have identified moving forward. Now, that said, the second thing we want to make sure that you're looking at and considering is that you dig deep on the real value of the opportunity. This again gets to not just doing something because of its surface level gain, right? If you could see on the surface that, oh gosh, I'm going to get a quote title to go along with this, or that you're going to get some greater visibility or exposure. Those are not bad things, right? In and of itself, those are not bad. But do they lead you to the space where you want to be? And will it help you to grow along the way? That is the key point to be made here as you dig deeper into considering the opportunity. So when you're thinking about that, it is okay. Is there an increased opportunity for exposure? But is it the type of exposure and visibility that you want? Right? There's a difference because you can get some visibility and some exposure, but it may not ultimately align with your goals and where you want to be. Right? Again, we've all had those things happen and we go, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But that's an opportunity to learn, right? So as you're digging deeper, this will help you to catch some of those things that might otherwise slip through, but that are out of alignment for where it is you want to be and grow in your career, in your business moving forward. Um, excuse me. Are there some next level people? That's a great space to look at. Not just, oh, I can hobnob with the execs or with these folks, but like, are there some next level people, as in you're going to be the baby fish and there are some real heavy hitters that you can learn from along the way, right? And so maybe it's not a visibility thing because the goal is not for you to be most visible, but maybe the goal is for you to be visible to a specific group of people who then can take you under their wing and help you to grow, mentor you, maybe sponsor you, right? Again, this is that digging deeper. And then the other one is there a new skill, new levels of knowledge that can be gained from the opportunity? Skill and knowledge that again adds to your foundation and that will help you to grow throughout the remainder of your career, or will be a launching space for you. This oftentimes, especially on this skill and knowledge piece, is going to require probably some sacrifice, right? Maybe it's you dedicating more time to a specific project that's going to get you the skills that you need in order to move forward. Maybe it's going back to a formal program of some sort where you're earning a degree or certificate or something like that. Those are all things that you want to think about as an opportunity presents itself. I know that one of the things that's super, super important is that you keep a running list. I do this, I've been doing this for 20, 30 years now, because everything that comes to you may not be a right now thing, but it doesn't mean that it's not something that could be considered later. The time may truly pass and you don't want to necessarily be going backwards on things, but sometimes you see something a little bit early and you're not quite there yet and you know it, but you keep it on the back burner. You keep it on a running list. So that's a running list that I've kept for years, and I'll go back. I keep it in one of my paper planners or my dream journals or whatever, and I'll just go back and visit and see what was on that and see if it's something that I ended up actually following through on without even really thinking about it, because then the opportunity presented itself again and I was able to engage in it fully. Or if there's something like, okay, I didn't get to do this yet, but it looks like this is probably a good time to move forward on that. So what do I actively need to do in order to engage with this opportunity now? So that is one of those little tips and tricks that I will offer to you, is just keep a running list of things so that you can make informed choices, and that your yes is a sound one for the appropriate time, and that those things that may not be aligned right now may be in the future. And so you can go back and look at it and say, is it time? Yes or no? And move forward or take it off, for permanently, maybe at some time in the future. Okay. The third point about leaning on leadership opportunities for growth is we have to make sure that we are open to learning from the negative experiences. This is a tough one, especially if you have been in a toxic work environment, in a toxic relationship with a boss, with some really negative situations as you're building out your business, something's popped up. And this learning opportunity is probably some of the most valuable things that we can actually gain, because a lot of times it comes with it what others externally may identify as a failure, that you failed at something, and you can be like, there's no failure here, it's a learning opportunity though. And to really dig deep on that and how you can utilize that to say, what is my next thing? How can I make this better in the future? How can I avoid a situation like this? What were some of the warning signs that maybe I ignored? And how can this help me to be a better leader, to identify those opportunities that may come along later? How can I grow from this situation? All right. And a lot of times this involves resetting boundaries and resetting expectations. And if there's nothing else to be gained from the situation, that fact alone is absolutely worth the experience. If you learn how to reset boundaries and reset expectations from people as you move forward, as you grow, that is something, that is a skill, that is an ability, that is a mindset that will serve you well as you move forward in your career, in your business. Okay. So, leaning on leadership opportunities for growth is super important. There are things that are all around us, whether they're in our community, whether they are in our organizations, opportunities to lead by, let's say, serving on a specific community leadership thing, or maybe on a project or a committee, right? There are tons of ways that we can lean in and look at these opportunities as saying, okay, how can I grow? What do I expect to learn from this experience so that it can feed me to the next, and what I'm doing next. All right. These are the kinds of things and thoughts that lots of people don't necessarily really engage in. They just jump straight in. And that's not always bad, but it can be, because you get in the middle of something, you're like, wait, why am I doing this again? what was I supposed to be doing this for? What was my rationale? Because if you don't, then you can find yourself really tied up in a situation that can be difficult to disconnect from, to unwind yourself from, and that may take a lot of energy, some damaged relationships or whatever. So we want to minimize that, not to say that those will go away, because there are just some things that are out of our control, but maybe it's something we can learn from as we are experiencing it, and kind of take that objective viewpoint, to not get caught up emotionally in the situation at the time, and to step away and be like, what really happened here? And I know I've had that experience even this year, where I've had some experiences of things that I was looking forward to being able to serve in or whatever, but then realizing, you know what? I did not realize when I agreed to this that this was not aligned. Like, their expectations of what I would give and my expectations of what I give were misaligned. And so it's up to me to fix it. All right. Sometimes that means, having a conversation, having tough conversations to have, to talk about what the expectations are and to make sure you're on the same boat. Sometimes it means leaving something, right? And moving on so that, you can both be in a better space. Okay. So don't look at those things as, oh gosh, this is so horrible. And I wish it had never happened. A lot of times we have those feelings and it's in the moment, but down the road, sometimes immediately, sometimes a little bit longer, we kind of realize, oh wow, this was preparing me for the next thing, right? And I've had those situations to come up often during the course of my life and career. And it's just fascinating when it strikes you. So try to be a little more engaged currently and now so that you can leave yourself open to recognizing that learning opportunity when it presents itself, and so that you can then say, okay, here's how I'm going to grow from this, or here's the potential for growth from this, in a way that's aligned with who I am and what I want to be doing long term. Okay, there we go. I look forward to sharing with you some more. There's some great opportunities that will be coming up. If you have not been keeping track of the Walking Your Strength Challenge that is being provided openly on all of my social media channels, I encourage you to go check them out. Make sure you follow me so that you can get the latest updates, as well as get ready to plan for a successful time in 2022. We have a winter workshop that's coming up, and I'm looking forward to engaging so many of you in that process so that you can have a successful 2022 in the way that you want it to be. All right. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I am here. Take care and have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye bye.